So welcome everybody to the first ever Over the Bloody Moon Laughter for Menopause Masterclass. And I'm really excited to introduce you to Lotte Mikkelsen, who is a laughter coach and is going to be taking us through some different exercises today. I know sort of from my own personal experience that laughter can be a huge release when we're feeling irritated, tired, sort of, a bit low. It's just, it's instant. Even actually when, like, just looking at you, Lotte, with your smile, it's making me feel happier. So I thought it would be just an interesting take on menopause, because we're always looking for this broad toolkit of different sort of techniques and practices for us to use. And the more tools that we have, the better we can adapt and enhance our menopause well-being. So I'm going to disappear off spotlight. Say, I love this as well. No slides today. It's just purely people. So I'm going to remove myself and hand over to Lotte, who's going to give context.
Oh, thank you so much. So thank you so much for that introduction. And yes, I've actually been laughing for over 20 years now, and it's just the best ever decision I made. So because I do come from a very corporate background where probably they still don't talk very much about menopause in those workplaces, but hey, we're getting there slowly, aren't we? So I want to tell you a little bit about laughter yoga and laughter therapy before we start doing the exercise, and why it's such a good idea. And in fact, I was looking up, apart from what I know from myself and my experience and my practice, what I know in terms of how it can help us. I was looking up, okay, is there any studies or research about laughter and menopause? And there are some smaller ones where it actually states that laughing has this way of laughing, having a daily laughter practice, has helped people feel more in balance, and that kind of self-esteem and positive outlook and perspective, and also less depressed, because that's one of the things that also anybody who goes through menopause will maybe experience on off is depression. So on that note, so this way of laughing is really fantastic, because we're not relying on people being funny or jokes or anything to do with our sense of humor. Because let's face it as well, sometimes our sense of humor may be a little bit challenged with what we're going through. So it may not be easy to tap into that space. And that's why these laughter exercises are amazing, because you just don't need all that. It is a choice. And when you think about your own laughter, you may have these really big bouts of belly laugh here and there, but they're too rare to actually give us the benefits of laughing all the time. So our social laughter, you may or may not agree, is that little almost like padding our sentences and appreciating or acknowledging what's being said. And it does not do much. It doesn't even go into our body. It stays up here, and it's pretty shallow. Like, does anybody ever feel stressed? Those I can see, hands up. Anybody ever feel stressed? Yeah. It comes with that as well, doesn't it? Menopause brings along a lot of things that we may, like 10, 20 years ago, have avoided because of age and so on. But, when we're stressed, we also tend to breathe up here instead of doing the deep breathing. That's so good for us. And that actually relieves a lot of stress. The same with laughter. It comes from up here. So we need to laugh deep and heartily. It doesn't have to be loud all the time, but deep belly laugh, and for minimum 10 to 15 minutes at a time. And we can do it because of the exercise we do. And then, of course, we need to do it every day to have that knock-on effect on what this does for us. And the thing is, you could take my word for it that is beneficial, but the best way to actually know that it does some fantastic good for us is to do it and give it a try, and not just give up after a week or so. But I'll tell you a little bit more about how you can keep in sync with the laughter a little bit later. But just before we start, because I want to tell you what you can get from it. We've been doing Zooms and online events for such a long time now, since in particular when the first lockdown happened some years ago. So I don't know about you, but a lot of people I know have not cleaned their webcam at all. And if you remember back to those days where they said you need 2 meters distance because droplets travel through the air, and that's where it's contagious and infectious. So we sit less than 2 meters from our webcam, don't we? And if you think about it, we sit there and talk, and maybe it gets a little bit muddled and so on. So let's clean our webcam. And it goes like this. Psst, psst, psst. Yeah. And even the good news is, even if you don't feel like laughing, we can always say ha 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 ha. Yeah? So let's give it a go. Are you ready? Psst, psst, psst.
Lotte, do you want everyone to take their mute off so we can hear laughter? Or
you know what? It hasn't even occurred to me. That is a really good idea.
Yeah, let's hear everyone's laughter. Unmute yourselves. Should we have a game?
And this is the thing, before we laugh again and clean our webcam, just to say, when we're doing the laughter exercise and the middle picture of me goes out into the group, it's really nice to see each other laughing and hearing each other laughing, because that's where it's really special and becomes so contagious that, you know, we laugh even when we're not in the mood. Yeah. So let's clean our webcam just because we can hear it now. Psst, psst. Brilliant. Now we haven't even started yet. So now the thing about it is, you know, it's one of these amazing things that we have in our body, in ourselves, laughter. And we just forget it sometimes when we grow up and become adults with serious commitments, serious jobs, serious relationships, and serious challenges when we reach a certain age, probably throughout life. Yeah, but it's different challenges that present themselves. And this is why this is such a good thing, because like I say, we don't need to be in a good mood. And what we do is, even when we say ha 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 ha, because when we say ha ha ha, our lips turn up, and this movement connects in with the pleasure centers in the brain, and we start releasing this amazing joy cocktail. We talk a lot about endorphins, the happy chemical, but it's actually a cocktail of chemicals that help us be more motivated and feel less depressed and feel more connected. And the thing about it is, I lost my train of thought. I think that comes with that kind of period in our lives as well, doesn't it? That's something you can just woo. No, what I meant to say was, we feel connected, and this is one of the key benefits of laughing. And it's not just to always tell our stories and so on, but it's to find that joy together, and it's to feel healthy and feel energetic and overcome all these little hurdles that we sometimes face. And what better way, you know, it's one of these things we can just tap into with that ha 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 ha, and it soon becomes real and contagious. Now, so when you're laughing, does anybody here remember the last time you had a belly laugh? Anybody? One person, maybe a few. The thing is, often we forget it because we don't practice it much, because sometimes it's not really appreciated in our circles and so on, and we don't do it by ourselves, do we? Well, I do, but that's a different thing. But the thing about it is, when we're doing this kind of laughter, where we get it into our body, we bring all this fresh air around our body, and it's so beneficial, but also so important, because a lot of the times when we're stressed and breathe from up here, we're not exchanging the old air, and this is what creates part of the stress-related conditions, and including some of the symptoms we experience throughout menopause that we can actually alleviate when we're breathing properly. So lots to gain here. And it is about getting the laughter into our body. So are you up for giving it a go? Yeah. Let's do it. Yeah. So
Unmute yourselves.
Yeah, so laughter is for everybody, and whether you can stand up or you remain seated, I'll leave it to you. Everything we can do seated, but I will stand up, and you're welcome to join me, but only if there aren't any trip hazards and it's safe for you. All right. So now we'll just move this up a little bit. So one of the things I want to say, I don't know about you, but I heard that the symptoms or the experience we have throughout menopause is hereditary. So has anybody else, apart from me, asked their mum or their parents how they felt when they went through menopause? Has anybody ever done that?
Yeah.
Because it's hereditary. Has anybody ever heard, I don't remember?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought it was just me. Thank you for clearing that up. So, but you know, we sit here often and we sit and wait for things to happen when we're online. And one of the things we should do first is get to know each other a little bit. And we do that through a little wave, like going, ha, 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 ha. Are you ready? And you can lean into the camera. Ha, 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 ha. You can just remain back there. Are you ready? You may not be a ha ha ha, so you can play with it. And this is really what it's about, trying out what works for you. So maybe you are more like a are you ready? No, I think most of you are. Definitely. Now, you know, so we'll finish the laughter exercise in a certain way, because then we know when they're stopping, and instead of me just starting to talk and maybe you're laughing like really loud and can't hear me. So we'll finish in a certain way. I'm going to do it with clapping. And this way of clapping is also really, really good for us, because we're stimulating all these energy points in our hands, and they send the energy around our body. So we feel that surge of energy. So the clapping goes like this, with the palms together, of course, to stimulate the energy points. And it goes ho, ho, ha, ha, ha. Do you want to give it a go with me? Ho, ho, ha, 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 ho, ho, ha, ha, ha. Fantastic. And when I start this, it's a signal we move to the next exercise. But before we do that, we take a deep breath in, where we stretch up, if you want to follow me. And then we breathe out with a big yeah. And once more. And there you have the again, that puts that smile on your face. And I promise you, this is the only yoga you're going to get. This is why it's called laughter yoga. But you know, sometimes we call it laughter therapy, because then people don't get scared off by the sound of yoga. So but we're breathing, and that's what's stolen from yoga. So one of the things about menopause I hear a lot, and I hear it from some of my friends, is that it's probably one of the most well-known facts, is the heat in the middle of the night, and then suddenly it's too cold, and then it's too hot, and so on. Has anybody experienced that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to do a hot, cold laughter. And I don't know how it's going to work, but I thought it was a good idea. So it's more like we're not going to take off our clothes, because that's what you do when it's too hot, isn't it? But we're just going to and then are you ready? And then we're going to go around like we can't really find the rest, and so on. So are you ready? And take a deep breath in. And once more. And And this is one of the things as well at the moment, because it's so warm, it's just really difficult. I don't know how you find it, but it's a little bit of a challenge to find that restful sleep, isn't it? So does anybody worry about going to sleep or going to bed and then having these experiences? Anybody worry about it, or do you just go to bed and then it happens? Anybody? Yeah, worry about it. Now, the thing about, does anybody worry about other things or think about other things when you go to bed? Yeah, this is the thing. Often we have all sorts of things going on in our minds. And when that happens, we are not really getting the most efficient sleep, because our subconscious mind is working it out and dealing with all these challenges that we think we're facing and we may be facing. Yeah. So one of the things to do before going to bed, and also when you wake up, because when we wake up with having worked through all that, we're already thinking about millions of other things. So we need to clear our minds, and there's a really, really good way of doing this, and we do it with a mental floss. And it's a little bit like dental flossing, just a little bit longer and imaginary. So we take out our mental floss and it goes, and then we floss our head. Are you ready? Do you know what? Before we do this, I want to introduce you to a different way of ending a laughter exercise, which we may do after this. And it goes like this. Very good, very good. Yay! And that's a very, very good, like, positive reinforcement of whatever goes on, that even if it's not necessarily our favorite thing that goes on, we can shift it. Yeah, do you want to give it a go with me? Very good, very good. Yay! Very good, very good.
Very good. Yay!
Oh, you're very good. You're very good, because it's not like it's a very good, yeah. It's like really enthusiastic, and you're very good at that. So let's clear our minds here. Are you ready? Yeah, very good. Yay!
Very good.
Very good.
Yay!
Very good.
Very good. Yay!
Very good.
Yay!
And take a deep breath in. And just once more. And you know, it's just a little exercise that we can do. And if you feel like, oh, I can't do that because there's someone else in the household and they may think it's a little bit odd that I walk around laughing this time of the evening or morning, then you can do a silent laughter. So it doesn't have to be with all the sound, but, you know, we'll get back to that anyway. Now, you know, when you get up in the morning and then you get ready for the day, and then maybe you had that thought, tonight is laughter. We're going to do laughter yoga, laughter therapy. Fantastic. So you're going to be messaging around and maybe receiving a lot of messages and reminders, and you're going to look at maybe your phone or your screen or where you're reading your messages. Yeah. So we're going to do that and laugh when we see it, and then we're going to share it. Okay, are you ready for that? Take a deep breath in. And I'll tell you what, breathing is really a lifesaver, isn't it? We wouldn't really be here without. And it's just that way of just getting the breath deep in. That's what we do with the laughter. We bring it deep into our body so we can get rid of all the old air. So laughter is just a really great extended exhalation. Now then, of course, you know, tomorrow, imagine you get a phone call saying, hey, have you seen the video where you're all laughing? So we're going to grab the phone and then we're going to share that call with everybody who is here and everybody else. So are you ready? oh, ha, 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 oh, oh, ha, 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 oh, oh, ha, 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 oh, oh, ha, ha, ha. And take a deep breath in. And once more. But you know what, it's not all about laughing all the time. It's just a way of balancing our body and how we feel about things and so on, because that's what's so important, to find a method where we can really cope with what's going on, both inside us and outside us. And it doesn't mean that things are not sometimes a little bit, how are we going to cope? And there's so much going on, isn't there? So sometimes it's also okay to just cry, yeah? And we have a laughter exercise for that. Does anybody find that you're crying more often than you used to? Anybody? Or you have these moments where you just feel like, I just feel like crying. Anybody here? Yeah, a few. Okay, so what we're going to do, because now we got all this good news, and then it's like, oh, it's maybe almost overwhelming a little bit with all the good news. So we need to balance it out a little bit with a sob, yeah? And we do it with a the crying, where we're crying and bending a little bit forward, we start laughing and then we cry and then we laugh again, yeah? So the crying is really where you're allowed to be overly dramatic, yeah? And that means it's the big lip, yeah? And you can stop your feet if you want, yeah? So are you ready? We start with a little bit of a Very good, very good, yay! Very good, very good, yay! Again, very good, yay! Very good, yay! And this time, if you have space, then we'll breathe like this, opening up, yeah? So palms together in front of you, and then you take a deep breath in. And once more. And just relax. And it's really good for opening our chest, so we get lots of fresh air in, but also lots of fresh air out, yeah? And you know, I mean, it does mess with our minds once in a while, doesn't it? And when we laugh, we're actually opening up for a lot of stuff to come out. So it can be really, really messy. So even if we're pretending to cry and pretending to laugh, then suddenly it may open up for all of these things. And it's all good because we're releasing stored up energy. And that's, you know, it can only be good to get rid of that. So now this is about self-care, yeah? And it really is about looking after ourselves, and sometimes also reaching out to others to do the same. And maybe we know others who go through similar things, so we reach out to them, and we're there for them to nurture and care and so on, yeah, just like they are for us. So maybe one of the things we like doing is to go to do some self-care and nurture ourselves and take others with us. Is maybe nowadays, where it's nice and sunny, nowadays, these days, this time of year, where it's nice and hot and summer, we like going to the seaside. No matter, this is one of the things I learned. I moved to the UK in 2001, and one of the things I learned really, really quickly was whenever the sun came out, that was like a commodity, not a commodity, but a rarity. And people in the UK would just immediately edge off to the seaside, yeah? And, you know, whether it was a little bit clammy or too hot, you would still go there because the sun was out. And what happens when we get there, we kick off our flip-flops with a little, you can't see it, but I'm kicking it off, yeah? And then you step on the sand or the pebbles, and they're either really, really hot or super clammy, but whichever it is, it's more like a tap dancing across it, yeah? So are you ready to kick them off? Because we're on a mission for self-care, yeah? with ourselves and our bodies. Yeah. So are you ready? Take a breath in.
Yeah.
It is a bit warm, isn't it? Now, one of the things, you know, when it gets, it's our blood that circulates much better, because we're really opening our blood vessels and sending it through. And that has a very nice and cleansing effect on our body as well. And, you know, this time of life, we have a lot of toxins going on, and we're trying our best to cleanse our body. And laughter is just a very good way of starting with our breath, and then the whole body follows along. It's amazing what you can do with laughter. So, so on the beach and in the sun, of course, we need our sun lotion. And this laughter exercise, you can actually use it on a daily basis if you use like moisturizer or shampoo or body wash or whatever products you use. So, so what we can do is, or hand sanitizer, which I've never ever used so much hand sanitizer in my whole life than over those couple of years. I don't know about you. But so we're going to grab our sun lotion, and this is just the most expensive. It's more expensive than any other brand, but no matter how expensive it is or how cheap it is, it makes the same sound when you squirt it into your hand. It goes, and then you apply it. Are you ready? Let's get it out there. So very good, very good. Yay! Very good. Yay! And it is really about getting back to our playful self that we forget when things get really serious in life. And remember, when you're breathing, does anybody ever sigh? You know, the sigh, that one, yeah. Yeah. So here's the challenge, is to shift that into being a, and it is a challenge. But, you know, because one of the things that happen when we do that, everything drops, yeah. I make a really big effort of wearing a smile, because I know otherwise everything just drops. My face drops and everything, yeah. So it's a really good way of just keeping things up where it should be. For me anyway. I don't know about you. You may be in perfect shape where you are. So sun lotion, sun laughter, we should stretch up and really greet the sun, yeah. And we do it with a little very good. Yay! Very good. Yay! Because it's such a good thing, isn't it? And we may even forget that sometimes. When I do some of these laughter exercises, I think, oh, I haven't done that today. And I'm really good at going out there and greeting my plants and the sun and everything, but sometimes you forget. And the thing is, when you forget one day, maybe you forget the next day and the next day and the next day. And that's a little bit how it is with laughter. If we don't have people to remind us of it, even ourselves, first thing in the morning, looking in the mirror and going, for example. So of course, you know, being on the beach is not for everybody, because, you know, the minute you get out of the water, into the water, onto the beach, onto the sand sticks to your skin, especially with sun lotion. So it may not be how we feel like nurturing ourselves. Maybe we like going for a walk in nature, with or without a dog. So we're going to do that, and we're going to pick some flowers, and this is a good breathing exercise. So if you do pick flowers or get fresh flowers, then just pick them up and go. Yeah, so we're going to pick a few of these. Yeah, are you ready? Do you know what? Another thing I grew up with, well, my mum didn't grow up with menopause or anything, but, you know, I did ask her much later in life. But my mum always used to say when we grew up was that if there was a bee, just stand still, because it's not going to sting you. Then, yeah, right. I've never stood still. I didn't want to risk it. Yeah. So what we do is actually, what happens is the bees fly up and we go. Yeah. So we're going to pick a few more flowers, and the second one we pick is going to be one where there's a bee that's been sleeping there. Yeah. Are you ready? And now this one. And take a deep breath in. And just once more. Now, is everyone okay? It's really nice to hear your laughter and see your smiling and laughing faces. So thank you so much for putting on the cameras. Now, one of the things, so the bees may be one of the reasons why we don't feel super nurtured in nature. But another reason could be that when we're in nature and we're picking these flowers, then suddenly, anybody live with hay fever or allergies? Anybody? Yeah, so if you do, and even if you see that D, so even if you don't, we know what it's like. Yeah, we know when that sneeze comes, it never comes alone, does it? So what happens is, here's how to tackle the sneezes when they show up, with or without allergy. Yeah, it goes like this. Ha, I'll show you. Ha, 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 ha. Yeah, and we do it a few times because they never come alone. Are you ready? Just to practice. So ready? Ha, ha, ha. That's very good, very good. Yay! Very good, very good. Yay! Very good, very good. Yay! Take a breath in. And it is really about finding something. There are always things in life that we take very seriously that we can actually take less seriously and start laughing, not at, but with. Because it's not about mocking it, it's about finding a coping strategy, and laughter is such a great method. Yeah. So now, so nature may not be our favorite thing. So maybe just nurture ourselves with a nice cup of tea or cup of coffee or even hot chocolate, or you know that fancy drink, the hot water where you have like mint and lemon and then you mix it over in hot water. I don't know who invented that, but great idea. So we're going to have our favorite ingredients. I'm going to mix them up and then drink them. And sometimes the drink is a little bit hot. So I'll show you how it goes, and then we have a few, yeah? Are you ready? Well, I'll show you first. It goes like this. Are you ready? Let's do a few, yeah? because they're best when we have a few. Yep.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Okay, one more. Yep.
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 And we are going to make a third one, but because we had enough, we're just going to throw it over our shoulder. Yeah, are you ready? Yep.
Yep.
Very good, very good. Yay! Very good, very good. Yay! Take a breath. And just once more. So now when we're having a cup of tea or coffee, it's also really nice to have a little snack with it. And I don't know about you, but I feel sometimes there are things I crave, like popcorn, for example. So we're going to make some popcorn, and they sizzle and they pop. We're not just going to watch them. We're going to be the popcorn. You can do this seated, just tap your feet quickly on the floor and bounce in your seat chair. But if you're standing up, then we take this little tap down step with, and then we jump. Yeah. So if you can't jump, just bounce in your knees. Yeah. So are you ready? Very good, very good. Yay! Very good, very good. Yay! And you're so good. And the thing is, we do take things seriously, and we take ourselves seriously. And it's not, like I say, it's not about laughing at ourselves. It's finding a way of just dealing with what we're facing. So sometimes it's okay to laugh at ourselves, because, this is my first thing when I wake up in the morning and maybe go in the bathroom, look in the mirror and go, ha, 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 because nothing's ever perfect that time, yeah? And it's not even real laughter, but it's our first connection in with the pleasure centers in the brain when we're doing the ha, 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 because ha, 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 up with the lips, yeah? So we're going to do that and show that we're okay laughing at ourselves. Are you ready? Ha, 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 ha. But you know what? When we made it and we're ready for the day, it's celebrating us, isn't it? Celebrating who we are and just giving ourselves. So even the laughter changes from ha 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 to even if it's pretend, we can still do it. Are you ready? Thumbs up. Take a breath in. And just once more. Yeah, now I'm going to sit down. If you're standing up, I invite you to do the same. We're not done yet. How's everyone feeling? Everyone okay? Yeah, if you need water, drink water, yeah, because it is like physical activity. So yeah. Now, one of the things about laughter is, like I say, the thing is, things start dropping, doesn't it? And this is, like I say, I'm conscious of wearing a smile, because otherwise I know it's going to be just dropping down. Yeah. And when we laugh, it is that instant facelift. It really, really is. And it brings that muscle tone to our face as well, because we're using muscles that we may not have used in a long, long time. And we're going to do that now. You may be laughing lots and think you laugh lots, But we're going to take our social laughter, the one I mentioned that's coming from here, and we're going to make it a little bit longer. Our social laughter is usually 3 to 5 seconds here and there, like that padding of our sentences, yeah, bookshelving them with, and then we shut down, yeah. So we're going to take that, and then we're going to do 2 minutes. So from 5 to 7 minutes, or 5 to 7 seconds, up to 120 seconds. Are you up for it? It may not sound a lot when I say 2 minutes, but it's a really good thing, and it's a good way of really getting the laughter into our body. So we'll start playing with and then making it bigger and bigger and bigger. And this is an invitation to keep going. And often what we do is we stop ourselves laughing because that thought of, oh, have I laughed too much, too loud, too long, too weird, too strange, too this, too that, and oh, and then the thought that may not come up, but something that a lot of children hear is when they laugh a lot, then someone says, oh, this is going to end in tears, yeah? Don't worry, tonight is not going to end in tears. We're just going to laugh. So when you're ready, I'm going to set the timer, and we're going to laugh for 2 minutes. Are you ready? Like I say, keep going, and I will remind you when we're halfway through, okay? So we'll start now. I'll let you off now and just deep breath in. Just once more. I'm really conscious of time. I know it wasn't quite 2 minutes, but I hope you're okay for a few more minutes. Is that all right, Leslie?
Fine.
So you're really, really great. And it's so nice to hear your laughter. And it's so infectious, isn't it? And just look around and look at the faces on screen and so on, the smiley faces that are just smiling. I think it's so wonderful. And did anybody feel like their faces started to ache? Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. We're reclaiming our faces, which is a good thing because we often walk around really serious, and things are serious at times, but it doesn't mean that we have to respond in a serious way. And even if we're laughing and smiling, it doesn't mean that we take it less seriously. On the contrary, it just means that we have a way of coping that's kind of like an insider thing. Because once you start laughing, you're not going to want to go back, really, I think. So just take a deep breath in. And when you're breathing, just notice where your breath goes, because maybe it goes deeper than before you were laughing. So just relax and breathe out. And take another really deep breath in. Just allow it to sink into your body so your body reconnects with the ground and everything there is. And just reminding yourself that laughter is for everyone, and laughter is definitely for us. And people who have fun get more done. And it's one of the things, I don't know if you, like me, are good at procrastinating at times. It's like when laughing, it's like there's so much more being done than if I'm not laughing. And that's a true story. The thing is, you know, if we may not be able to reverse things and make everything good this moment, but unless we give it a try, how are we going to know? And I think everyone just wants a little bit more peace of mind and connection and fun and joy in our lives as we grow older. And lots of people have, but there are also lots of people who struggle with many, many things. So here's a way of just overcoming it in a really empowered way, going through what we go through. So does anybody have any questions? Is everyone okay?
Yeah, we're taking breath. It would be great to hear maybe sort of like a reflection or a takeaway if anyone wants to share for Lotte. Yes, Amanda.
Oh, I've loved it. Thanks, Lotte. And it's just they're very good, very good. Yeah, I think I could do that a lot. I think I can get a lot done.
Yeah.
I just want to do it every day.
Yeah.
It's really positive.
Brilliant, fantastic. Anyone else want to share an experience, their reflection? Rosie?
The second you start laughing, long time, your dog comes and gets on your lap and is like, "What are you doing? You don't laugh." Yeah. Now.
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant. Thanks, Yvette.
I was at a conference once where there were guide dogs. It was for people with MS, and afterwards the people with the guide dogs came up and said, "Oh, our dogs just loved it, loved the laughter." And it is really joyful, isn't it? But it probably takes getting used to. There's a question of any tips to help keep going on our own. Yeah. Yeah, Maria, I do have a tip. Now, one of the things is I sometimes forget that, you know, 2 minutes of laughter may seem really long. I laugh every morning at 7 o'clock to 7:10. And it's on the telephone. It's a conference call where you can dial in. You can stay for the whole 10 minutes, or you can just do a few minutes, or whatever it is that's suitable for you. But it is to set the day. And the reason I started the Telephone Laughter Club, and this is back in 2008, was because I was diagnosed with MS, and it was a really big deal because my sister died in 91 with MS. And nowadays it's like, I don't know if it's because I got hot feet because of the menopause or because it's MS or what it is. But laughter is really, for me, a great way of coping. And the telephone laughter is like a way for me to have a structure. So I do it every day, because we all know that it's so easy to set plans for ourselves, and then something gets in the way and we're like, I'm going to start again tomorrow, and then tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow, and then it happens. So the telephone laughter is there every morning, and I'm happy to share the details. I'll send it to you, Leslie, and if you want to share it to the group. Yeah. But you also, I mean, I run training, I run workshops, and you're more than welcome to visit me on unitedmind.co.uk. Is that okay, Leslie?
Of course it is, absolutely. Yeah, so if anyone is here, sort of, I know there's a few from different companies, so if you want to invite Lotte in, I'll be sharing it in our newsletter coming out July the 1st, which I think is Saturday. And Lotte, do you want to just say your website as well?
I just put it through on the note.
Put it in the chat.
And thank you so much for the comments. It's, you know, I couldn't do this if you weren't there. You know, I would probably sit and laugh by myself, but it's different when we're connecting through laughter. It really, really is. It just creates so much warmth and connection and community, sense of community. And that's what it's about. And that's what Over the Bloody Moon is about. Yeah.
Oh, well, listen, thank you so much, Lotte. It's been the most unique, uplifting, fantastic experience. I feel so different to an hour ago. So thank you very much.
Oh, thank you.
For everyone joining, thank you so much for being part of the community. It's so lovely to see you all. We're actually going to be having a bit of a break over the summer because I know some people are going away, July, August. but do check out the website. We're putting more resources, and there's the next masterclass is going to be the end of September. So thank you very much. I feel like we should laugh to say goodbye to Lotte. So
maybe very good. Yay! very good. Yay!
Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great evening.
Thank you so much.
Keep laughing.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.